Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Pregame Show podcast. We are back in studio. Cody Del Mendo, boots on the ground, back in the West Loop. Luke Stuckmeyer here, and we have the Pirates in town, weather permitting, for what is now critical baseball. Cody went on the road, took the vibes with him. A lot of people want to place the blame on the beer bat that was choked up. A lot of people want to place the blame on David Ross. A lot of people want to place the blame on the roster. A lot of people want to place the blame on the players. A lot of people want to place the blame on bad luck. A lot of people want... Bottom line, Cubs are losing a lot of games. And all of a sudden, they are tied for the final playoff spot, but they don't hold the wild card. So technically, we go into this game tonight out of the postseason. How has it unraveled this quickly? And Cody, how are you doing?
I'm miserable.
I'm miserable. There's a lot of people in the chat. I'm scared. Please win.
I'm miserable. The Saturday game is probably what killed me the most while I was out in Arizona. And just the entire trip in general.
Did it ruin your trip? Did the losing ruin your trip?
It just left like this shitty feeling in my gut every night. I went to Denver because I saw a friend of mine that I haven't seen in 5 years. So that was cool. I got to go to the DNVR bar. That was cool. Got to do the Rockies podcast with Patrick Lyons, who's going to be in Chicago on Thursday.
Nice weather in Denver. The
weather was nice in Denver. Coors Field is cool. I highly recommend it. The Denver part was awesome despite losing 2 or 3 there. I just thought that they were going to bounce back in Arizona, and it just didn't happen. The Friday game in Arizona was awful. Just awful. There was nothing to take away from that game. That was good.
It was miserable.
Saturday, after Saturday's game, I delusionally talked myself into thinking that they would at least salvage a series on Sunday because they actually played a good game on Saturday. The offense showed up. They got great pitching out of the bullpen, but they just couldn't get that extra run in extra innings to, give their pitchers some leeway. I mean, I can't be mad at the bullpen for giving up a run each inning whenever you start the inning with a guy on second base. Like, the Cubs took advantage of it, but they couldn't get that extra one. And, there was some bad luck with the Ian Happ liner to first base with Patrick Wisdom on first, and it somehow leads to a double play. There was that, the ball off Wisniewski's arm, and Swanson, I think there was a big controversy I saw on Cubs Twitter about Swanson not catching that ball.
Yeah.
I watched it on the plane.
A funky spin on it
on the plane home Sunday. I watched that play on my phone at least 50 times, and I keep thinking to myself, why didn't he just catch it? I feel like
he didn't have a great road trip.
No, it was not the revenge series I was hoping for.
It was not a great road trip for him. By the way, shout out to everybody that's joined us in the live YouTube chat. Ravi, the first one to say fire Ross today, and Omar, the first to say fire Jed Hoyer. So credit to you.
Omar says it in every chat.
I know. Well, anyway. Fire. I thought Collada might be here to say fire Ross first, but Ravi.
Craig is saying now me wearing pants is bad
luck. We're off to a bad start. It's shorts, bad luck.
It's kind of cold,
Pants are bad luck.
The only reason I ever start
cold and rainy.
Yeah.
Especially after you come from Arizona where it was.
Yeah.
You never wore pants there.
I wore shorts the entire week. The entire week.
Nobody fault you if you didn't wear anything while you were in Arizona.
Yeah, with how hot it was.
Cody has learned a powerful lesson. Never go to Arizona after March.
Yeah.
I'm never
going back to Arizona, specifically in September ever
March
again.
To December. March to November, banned.
Yeah. Chase Field is like going to Miller Park without the tailgating. It's mid. That's what I got for you on that. Sorry to our friends at PHNX. Their ballpark is like average as
it's a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
It's got a roof nice.
Yeah. Like the because of the roof, it was actually nice in the park. You wouldn't have thought it was 100 degrees
there though, right? Like how could you not have a roof because you could never play a day game.
No. I mean, even at night though, it's still hot there. You know what I mean? because it's still like 80 degrees.
An oven is still hot at night.
Yeah.
If the oven is on.
Right.
Hey, we say, fire Andy Green is the first vanilla chill.
Why are we firing Andy Green? What did he do? Also, like
just because the offense has been bad.
The screen or whatever is like the TV being here instead of right down here. It's weird now.
It's throwing you off.
It is throwing me off.
Well, it does have me looking off to the side to read it, so I'm kind of looking off screen. That's the negative to it. But the Bears,
Andy Green
Bears
is
guys
the bench
rule the world.
coach. What's his name? The guy from the Dodgers is the hitting coach. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
if we're complaining about the offense and the hitting coach, I guess
we'll have an entire offseason, which is coming quickly, to blame a lot of people for the collapse. And whether or not it's a successful season, we can debate that in the offseason.
The good news is if they win tonight and one of those three teams, whether it's the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, or the Reds, if they lose, then the Cubs are right back in the second spot, and you feel good going into tomorrow. To me, for the Cubs to get back, like to salvage what's happened these last 5 games, is they got to get the one. They got to get the monkey off their back, and they got to get back to playing the way they're playing. To me, the biggest issues with the 5-game losing streak is Swanson and Bellinger just haven't hit. It's specifically Swanson. Yeah. And even Swanson's defense has been a little like, eh. And it almost does make you feel like, man, he needs a day off. Even though the last 2 years he's played literally every game. But the Braves could afford to do that. They had other guys in their lineup. You know, they had Matt Olson. They had Freddie Freeman before that. They have Acuna. That team was deep those last 2 years for Swanson to play all those games and that team be able to survive through his ups and downs. This team needs Swanson to, at the very least, be elite defensively. And, like, in Arizona, to me, it wasn't as sharp as it normally is.
He's looked tired to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he just looks tired. And I'm not even really complaining about Bellinger because he's been so great and he's the whole, like.
I'm not even complaining about either guy when you zoom out to the whole season. Obviously,
right. And Bellinger is a big reason why they're even have this opportunity. Yeah. But because he's not doing what he's been doing, and the rest of the offense is kind of it's now showing, and it's highlighting his kind of struggles too. And so to me, you got the Pirates in town. You got to get one. You got the ass man on the mound tonight who's coming off, a whatever start in Colorado. No pitcher pitches well in Colorado, whatever. Like, it's now or never, dude. It's now or never. And I know I asked for meaningful games in September, and that's it. But to me, if this team fully collapses and misses the playoffs after being 10 games under 500, only to get up to over, not just 2, but over 10 games 500 and collapse like this in September, I personally think that you have to put some blame on the manager or someone. There's got to be blame on someone, and someone's got to go. That I don't care that there weren't any expectations for this team this year. You had so many extremes happen with things. So many things that we didn't expect happen, and if they don't make the playoffs after all those things happen, someone deserves blame. And I at this point, all I can say is that blame for me would be on David Ross if this collapse happens.
Well, let me say this. First of all, I do agree with Niren. You cannot miss the postseason if it means losing a spot to the Reds and Marlins. If you lose to the Reds and Marlins, this is taking way too long for a rebuild. You don't lose a playoff spot to the Reds and Marlins. You're at this point, so here's what you have. The Dirty Dozen, 12 games. It's been a rough stretch leading up to it. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. Here's the Dirty Dozen sitting in front of you. The final 12 games of the regular season. Suck it up and enjoy it, Cubs fans. I don't tell you how to Cub, but I'm telling you this time, enjoy it because the Bears are terrible. The Bulls are going to be bad. The Blackhawks only have Connor Bedard. He can only skate so often. It's a bad sports time in Chicago right now. This team has a shot to go to the playoffs. Embrace these games. Don't be nervous about what's happening these final 12 games. Try to enjoy the process of it. try to. They may choke it away, and it may be just another gut punch, but they might not.
Yeah.
So if there's any... Listen, these other teams have no shot at the postseason. None. If you still think the Bears are going to the playoffs, you're crazy. They're going to be 0-3. They're not going to the playoffs. The Bulls, if they made the playoffs, it will be totally pointless because they're stuck in NBA hell. The Blackhawks, they have a great prospect that they drafted, but he's one guy. So enjoy these final 12 games because when they're over, we either have playoff baseball or we got a long winter ahead of us. Another long winter in Chicago. So enjoy these 12 games. Now, that said, you have 6 against the Pirates, or 6 against the Pirates and Rockies here.
Yep.
Cannot go less than 5-6. Cannot.
5 of 6, you mean?
5 of 6. You have to go at least 5-1.
Got to sweep one. Got to win the series of the other.
This 3-3 garbage can't happen. Yeah. 4-2 can't happen. If you want to make the playoffs, minimum 5-1 in these next 6 games.
Sure,
because afterwards, you got way harder games.
Yeah.
So it has to be 5 of 6. In my eyes, it might have to be 6. It might have to be 6-0, but at minimum 5-1.
I will say that,
or you don't deserve to make it.
I think that winning the 2 series will be fine, and I only say that.
So 4-2 would be enough for you.
For me, it would be enough, and that's only because Atlanta already won the division. So will they be putting out their best effort against the Cubs in Atlanta? I don't know. And do you think I'm intrigued to see how Milwaukee, like if it comes down to if the Cubs are going to make the playoffs the last weekend of the year, will Milwaukee continue to set their, because assuming that they've already won the division before that series, right?
Yeah, it's over.
Will the Brewers use their top 3 guys that weekend before the playoffs? And
yeah, would they do it just to spite the Cubs?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For the integrity of the game? No, if they were doing it, they'd be doing it to spite their Cubs.
Right. But if they're just ready to move on to the playoffs and have their guys set up and have extra rest, then I think they won't use their 3 guys. And so I do think that those games next week might not be as scary as we might feel right now. But yeah, we got to.
And I don't know who the other teams are playing. I haven't looked at that, but there's very good chance they might be facing some teams like that too.
Giants are playing the Diamondbacks right now. This start their week. So, the Giants are still battling. I know the division's over. It's over. It would have to be some crazy shit to happen, right? I mean, Milwaukee lost last night to Adam Wainwright, washed Adam Wainwright. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. All right, so it would have to take some crazy shit, and it's unfortunate because the Cubs had every opportunity all season to overtake this division, and they let it fall apart. And now we're here hoping and praying for a wild card spot. And like I've said all year, I always just wanted to get in. I just wanted to go to the dance because, again, the expectations were low coming into this year. Everything that's happened, it's icing on the cake if they get into the playoffs. But considering how September is gone, it's just like, to easily be right there with that second wild card spot for a while, and for it to come down to where it's at now, it's just like it's a collapse that I'm hoping and praying doesn't happen because this team's been fun this year. I don't want to look back on this team as another Cubs collapse. You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel good going into the offseason.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. That's why I've had this. I'll be real. I've thinking about this team has been giving me so much freaking anxiety the last week.
So are we going to make a pact to enjoy the final 12 games? Do you think we could? I don't know if we can do it, but could we try a pact where we say, all right, we're going to enjoy the final 12 games because the offseason will be ugly if they don't make it? And
I don't necessarily think the offseason will be ugly. It would just be very
until they sign Shohei and Bellinger, but that's another story.
I mean, October will not be fun to watch.
No. Here's the deal. I know right now everybody's sitting there, Cubs lose. You think that's probably the 2 worst words in the English vocabulary. Cubs lose. Toughest 2 words to hear. No. I just read the 2 toughest. Rain delay.
Oh no. I come back in and there's a rain delay.
The Bears are terrible. The Cubs are blowing it. All this stuff's going wrong. It's raining out. The cold weather's on the way. It's dreary. Yeah. You're hitting me with a rain delay.
At least it didn't happen in the middle of the game, though.
When life gives you lemons, it gives you a rain delay. That's what happened. There's no lemonade.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
You know what makes it better, though, is knowing that Ryan's at the ballpark. That's what makes it better for me. Knowing Ryan's there, because of his slander that he's been giving me in the Cubs Slack channel.
Blaming you?
Was gone. Blaming me for everything. Yeah.
I mean, but really, a rain delay? I didn't... I check my iPhone every once in a while. I never saw rain forecasted on Monday all weekend. All of a sudden, it's rain. Like, it hasn't stopped raining.
It's like I landed at O'Hare on Sunday.
You were like, is this Seattle?
Yeah, I was like, I hadn't seen rain for a whole week, and it looks like it just downpoured.
My son's got one of those kiddie pools in our backyard. It's filled with water. I didn't put any in there. It's just been raining nonstop.
Yeah. Yesterday was a beautiful day, but of course, there was no game to play yesterday.
Hey, Craig says, cold weather. What's that? I live in Arizona. We're feel bad for you.
I feel bad for you right now.
After Cody was there. Listen, I'd rather sit in rain or cold all day than I would in 115.
It was like 103. You
can only get naked. You can always put clothes on.
Yeah. It was consistently 100, 101 degrees the 3 days I was there.
All right, Cody, give us something to bet on. Give us a DraftKings hit parlay.
Well, we haven't mentioned his name yet, but Alexander Canario getting his first career start tonight. So I put him in the hit parlay. He's hitting 9th, DHing. Then we're going Cody Bellinger and Seiya Suzuki. Lefties hitting
Canario, Belly, and Seiya.
Yeah, lefties hitting 365 off falter this year, and Seiya just even during this tough stretch for the offense in this 5-game losing streak, I feel like Seiya is still giving good at bats. So I think that comes out to a plus 206 on DraftKings when you use the odds boost that they're giving out today. But yeah, that's it.
I had a couple of free bets from DraftKings for the NFL because they keep giving out deals. So I played nothing. Ever since my hot streak on the Super Bowl. So I'm shutting myself off unless it's another free bet. EvoWax73 says rain delays usually turn out well for the Cubs. Hey, I'm selfish here. I don't care what's good for the Cubs. Sometimes you got to sacrifice one for me.
Stock.
M-E. There's a me in team. Just remember that.
Stuck's just thinking about how late he's going to get home tonight and then have to be up at like 5 a.m. tomorrow because his kid's waking up.
That's right. Hey, selfishly, I want a few Z's. That's what I want.
He wants a few Z's.
So, yeah, you mentioned the lineup. It's interesting because some of the things that people have been begging for are happening, whether that's desperation or they have no other choice. But you're finally getting some of the things. Ian Happ is no longer the 3-hitter, right? That's been happening for a little bit.
He was hitting the leadoff all weekend.
Right, and right before that, so our last show in studio was Friday, and we kept saying, listen, I can't remember who was in the chat. I think it might have been Craig. Was like, listen, the right spot statistically in the way Happ is a pretty good leadoff guy. It just didn't work, and it seems like they're just kind of like, oh, I don't want to try that again.
Mm-hmm.
And
he did well in the leadoff role over the weekend. That was one of the few
so
bright
now
spots.
He's down to batting 6th again.
Yeah.
But again, the people that didn't want him 3rd, at least he's not hitting 3rd.
Yeah.
I'm happy because Bellinger is at least in the first 3, so there's a chance he's going to hit more than others.
Right.
Now, I'd be okay still if it went Horner, Bellinger, Swanson. Even though the power is backwards there, I'm okay with Bellinger getting another chance to get that extra bat. Yeah. But whatever. So Happ is down. All the people that wanted Morel at 3rd base. Okay, here we go. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see what he can do.
This is like this is
out of desperation. Madrigal's hurt.
Yep.
And his hamstrings acting up again. And frankly, I listen to Brendan. His WOBA's not good, guys. His WOBA's not good. It's like 230.
Yeah.
His WOBA's not good.
Yeah.
That's weighted on base average.
Oh.
I don't really know what the rest of that means, but it's still WOBA. Okay, and
it's a stat.
he hasn't been good with the bat.
Right.
Okay. Wisdom's not the answer at third. Madrigal, despite the good defense, is not the answer long term at third base. I don't know that Christopher Morel is the answer long term at third base. I just know that once these 12 games are over and hopefully the postseason is over, that he works his tail off this offseason to try and be that guy. Now, that still might not make him the third baseman, but I'd like to at least have him be the backup plan at third base so that when he's not DHing or he's not in whatever position he's at, we can say comfortably, let's put Christopher Morel at third base. So let's see in these 12 games, take the bat part out of it. We know he's got upside if he can cut down on some things. A lot of power. Let's see if he's better if he plays it for the next 12 games. Let's just see what he's got.
I thought he had a good game on Saturday, and I thought his game on Friday was fine too. He had a homer in the 9th inning on that Friday game. I'll say this. Like I'm happy to see Morel getting the chance at third base. And I'm also surprised that they're not playing Wisdom at third and putting Bellinger at first and then putting Tauchman or PCA in center.
The way I see it is they're like, we need some home runs finally. Finally, they're just like, we got to do it. We can't lose another one-run game. We can't have another lackluster. We've got to put Morel, Wisdom, Canario, guys that can hit homers. They're all in there. And the way to do it is Morel plays third. Now, I guess you could flip it. You could have Wisdom be the DH.
Mm-hmm. But then you wouldn't have Canario in
Correct.
there. I mean, it is surprising to see him in there considering he hasn't got a shot. He's got one at bat.
Yeah.
And it was in a blowout win over the Giants like 2 weeks ago. He hasn't had a major league at bat since then.
I know. So people wanted to see him. You're finally getting it. Here's Canario. Watch him hit 2 home runs.
I like the lineup. I'm just saying that I'm surprised that we're getting it. Considering how things have gone all season with David Ross and his lineup construction and his, for 3 months.
Stubbornness. A little stubborn.
Yeah,
a little stubborn. This is the way he wants to do it.
The fact that we're getting this, it's like, am I dreaming? Is it like, pinch me. Is this real? But yeah, I'm fine with this. This is fine. And the only other thing to me, if I were to redo this, is put Bellinger back at first and PCA in center. Then you have the better defense all across the infield and the outfield.
I think PCA's slow start at the plate has scared David Ross a little bit. Not like, he's not going to be a good player. Just, this might be too much too soon. We rushed him up here. He's a good defensive replacement, but maybe he's not the guy if I'm trying to get this team to the postseason and make sure I have a secure job in the offseason.
Isn't the starter for the Pirates tonight a lefty?
Yes, I believe so.
So that's probably why he's not in there too. But I mean, I personally feel like for defense alone, PCA should have been in the lineup this weekend in Arizona, and he didn't start any game this weekend in Arizona. But
yeah, and Niren is right. He in the first thing you would say about him at the plate so far is he's realized that velocity at the major leagues overall different than velocity at the minor league levels. Like it's that the high fastball has overpowered him a couple times. I think it was still the Arizona. It might have been Friday night where a couple times it was like the ball was past him before he was like,
yeah.
Okay.
And like I said earlier when I was giving out the hit parlay, lefties are hitting really well off Falter this year, but I don't know. I personally think PCA should be playing every day just for the defense alone, but if you're going to put Bellinger in center field instead, then that's fine. As much as
Joey's taking his clothes off.
I'm kind of whatever about Wisdom. Wisdom, I feel like Wisdom's actually given decent at bats. He hasn't the results haven't been there, but he hasn't struck out a lot. He's not striking out 3 or 4 times a game when he gets in there. I don't know. I don't know. That's just how I feel about PCA. Just being there. I remember when we were leading up to September and we talked about PCA getting that September call up, and I said, the way they've been doing things, I don't think that they will just throw him in the lineup and be in there every day. And I guess I've pretty much been right about it. I guess the reason that I'm asking for more of him is just because I'm asking for, like, when they call these young guys up, I feel like they're supposed to provide some sort of spark. Isn't that like the point of it when they bring up some reinforcements?
Yeah, that's the hope. And then, I think, David Ross said we're not talking about development, but in reality, you're hoping both happen. He gives you the spark. Hey, the two catches in the first game, you were like, wow, that's how he can impact the team. We're saying even if he doesn't do it at the plate, he could help you win a game with a defensive play or with some base running. We'll see. Yeah. All I know is I just looked at my iPhone and it says 90% chance of rain in the 7 o'clock hour, and then nothing the rest of the night. So
hopefully they're taking.
I don't know how much they really have looked into this, but that seems somewhat
How do we
positive.
only have 8 likes? I come back finally, and we only get 8
a
likes.
Lot
is everyone
a lot of
mad
apathy after this road trip.
Listen, I'm
telling you, embrace it, because the rest of the winter is going to be real ugly.
I've been in shambles, man. Everyone on the internet's blaming me for this. Like, on top
actually, a lot of people
of Ryan being like the worst in the Cubs Slack channel. Like, I mean, I can't catch a break.
A lot of people, like I said, I've seen many people blaming our boss, Kevin Kaduk.
Yeah, people on Twitter
for
also
coming on after the little guys. It was just a little spit up. It wasn't.
I literally couldn't breathe for like 5 seconds.
It wasn't the poop plane. He just couldn't breathe for a little bit. A little spit up on the beer bat, and he came over and said that was going to be the black cat. And frankly, the Cubs, have they won one game since then?
I just can't remember when. I want to say that was after they swept the Giants.
The record is not good since then.
2 games. So maybe 2 games.
So,
they won 1 game against the Diamondbacks, and they won 1 game against the Rockies. 2-8. Yes, they're 2-8 since this. Yeah,
since the incident. Yeah. We'll just call it the incident.
All
right.
I don't know what to tell y'all, man. Like, if it's gonna make y'all feel better to blame me, then I guess it's big of me to just take it.
Yeah, just take one for the team. Joe, did Joey make who you got? Did you make a graphic for who you got?
I did not make a graphic for who you got because I'm trying to make this Cubs playoff tracker.
Joey's working on something. So there's no. Here's my Cody. Who did you take for who you got? Did you take Canario? Somebody took Canario. I saw in the Slack.
No, Corey did. I took. I believe I took Swanson because he's struggling.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
I am not making a selection because I don't play until the Cubs decide to play again.
Oh, big of you.
That's it. I didn't take one over the weekend. Nah. That's it. I'm good.
Are you going to hit your percentage for who you got?
Well, that's a good point. We probably should go back and add these up. We got about a month of results to put in there.
I have no idea what
during
the
this 7-hour rain delay, we've got nothing but time, Cody. Maybe tonight's the night.
Maybe tonight is the night.
I got to order some dinner, and then maybe we'll add up a month's worth of who you got results. All right. We'll be back here if the game is called. We'll be back here if the game is played once it's over. We hope you'll join us. Best way to enjoy the experience, live YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports page. That way you don't miss any of them. Thanks to everybody that's in the chat. Please hit the like button on the way out. 15 thumbs ups.
15, man.
15?
Y'all that mad at me? Like, I said I'm like...
I mean, Siskel and Ebert used to give you 4, 2 each. 15.
I'm also sad that Collada and Barb aren't here to yell at me.
and Barb
Barb would be in here. Cody, I told you not to go to those games.
I thought we were going to have a lot of We Stinks from Collada tonight.
Yeah,
but maybe that's the post-game show.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, thanks for checking out the pregame show. We'll be back here afterwards. Until then, thanks for watching and fly the W.